Morning. Welcome back. It's time for another edition of It Got Better. I apologize both for the delay in getting this to you, my adoring fans, and also too for the rather crappy production values. Again, I'm doing this on the fly. So, in any case, oh wow, sorry, cold in here. This is again devoted to the figure skating period in my life, which we've talked about a little bit before. For those who don't know, I was a competitive figure skater at a very high level when I was a young person. One of the strange things about that world, at least during that time, this was before that Johnny Weir Queen came along, there was a lot of pressure not to be too faggy because the perception was that all of us were faggy. So, you know, people would sort of like try not to be that one. You know, which is really like, you know, a sheep in the herd saying, oh, no, I'm the smart one, right? You're all sheep. Talk about clawing your way to the bottom. In any case, so, you know, I was caught up in that like everybody else. And so one day I find myself, it's a training facility that I was at, and it's me, this other kid, whose name, I can't remember his first name, his last name was Baldwin. He was a total D-bag. And Todd Eldridge, who, if you follow figure skating, you probably know he went on to have a very successful career. And he was just kind of starting that. He and I were sharing one coach at the time, and so he was, you know, a couple years older than me. So it was very important to me to impress him. So when I say like locker room, you know, this is figure skating, right? We're not putting on pads. It's kind of like we're changing from our tennis shoes into our skates, and probably a few of us checking, you know, our rougey cheeks in the mirror. So in any case, I'm there. These two other guys are there. Todd, who I kind of want to impress, and we'll just call him Mr. Baldwin. And they're both older than me. So anyway, I was just at the age where I was starting to realize that having the right clothes could make you cool. And I had mostly learned that from my sister, who was slightly older than me and was just starting to get into like Guess jeans and Esprit clothing and stuff like that. And you know, prior to this point, I didn't own a pair of jeans. Like I had just decided that, oh, okay, I get this. Like if I wear the right clothes, it'll get me in with the kids in school. So I had bought my first pair of pants with a zipper. Like that for me was a step up. I wore sweatpants every day to school before that. I was that big a dork. So, you know, I'm just kind of getting into this, and I had also then just purchased my first Swatch. And for those who lived through that period, like this was just when they came out, this was huge. Like having a Swatch, even being able to acquire one, because they were actually difficult to get, made you cool. And for a kid just out of sweatpants, this was a big step forward. So I had acquired a Swatch, and it was one of the totally clear ones, which was even bigger. Like that was bigger than having Bon Jovi tickets at the time, or acid wash jeans, which I did eventually get, and acid wash socks to go with them. But at this time, the Swatch was really my calling card. It was my ascot. So I'm wearing the Swatch, and I'm in the locker room with Todd and with Mr. Baldwin. And Mr. Baldwin sees the Swatch on my wrist and says, oh, that's usually a girl's watch. And, you know, maybe I was 13 or something like that. That's basically like, you know, the equivalent of being a football player in the locker room and going to change into your pants, whatever they call those tight pants that they wear over the pads are. And, you know, pulling down your pants and realizing you're still wearing your lacy panties. Like being told I was wearing a piece of women's apparel, a women's accessory, that I thought at this point was like going to make my reputation. It was just crushing. I was totally crushed by this kid, right? And even like Todd Eldridge, who's there, like I kind of see him like snicker, right? Totally humiliated. And here's the funny thing is like these are fellow homos in the eyes of our peers, right? Like this is the lowest of the low. You know, being told by your fellow prisoners, basically, that you look shitty in that orange jumpsuit. So in any case, I was like totally humiliated. I think I took it off and like stashed it in my bag. I still own it, by the way, and I don't actually think I've worn it since. But in any case, I saw this the other day. It turns out that that thing is like super valuable now, those clear swatches, because it was the cool thing to have then. And I really was on the vanguard of fashion, just as I am today in my Honey Badger t-shirt. So, to Mr. Baldwin, who made me the first person to be self-conscious about what I was wearing, fuck you. Because you know what? I was the Cindy Crawford of the male skating world, for whatever that means, and you didn't recognize it. And I actually think it was because you were jealous. Because you were jealous, you lost out. You didn't get the Swatch. I had the Swatch. It made me cool. I didn't wear it again, but even for that day. And I will tell you, some days now I put it on around the house just to wear it. Prance around in it a little bit. So there it is. Fuck you, Mr. Baldwin.